What happens when you mix yoga, artificial intelligence, and competitive business intelligence? Do you actually want to understand competitive intelligence and analysis for your business? If so, this video is for you. We are going to start off with a case study of ZenFlow Yoga Studio. I'm going to give you an overview and the strategic challenges because it's going to be part of our business analysis in terms of what we're doing strategically. So let's go ahead and get started. The very first thing we want to know about ZenFlow Yoga Studio is they have 2 studio locations serving the local community across 2 neighborhoods. It's owner-operated, hands-on leadership with passion for wellness, strong community presence, experienced instructors, loyal membership base, and of course the committed members who value ZenFlow experience. This is going to be important. This information is going to be important for the competitive intelligence. The key challenges are also going to be important for the competitive analysis and intelligence. There's rising competition in the area, so the increasing number of boutique studios entering the market with specialized niche offerings. The social discovery gap, the younger customers are discovering and choosing studios through social platforms where ZenFlow has limited its presence. Member retention, which is always a problem. It's a problem with martial arts schools, yoga schools, and several other types of schools. Difficulty retaining new members beyond the first few months, leading to high churn after initial sign-up. And of course, finally, limited customer insights, lack of visibility into customer preferences, which makes it hard to personalize offerings and anticipate needs. So you can see this is where we start. Welcome aboard. We are going to use Google Antigravity to do a full run on competitive intelligence and analysis. Make sure you watch this all the way through. Don't miss a beat because it can definitely support your business. Let's do it. And here we go. This is Antigravity, Google's Antigravity. This is a paid version. You can do it with a free version, but you will find yourself getting limited down the road. Meaning you'll be halfway through it and it'll say, I'm sorry, you got to add credits or you've ran out of time. It'll give you some sort of limitation. So here we go. We're going to have a good time right now. So we're going to be doing competitive intelligence analysis. We're going to be doing it for the Zen Yoga Studio. And what we're going to do is we're going to put in this prompt right here. We're going to act as a competitive intelligence analysis and strategic business consultant. Your job is to analyze a fictional business case, although you could use it with a real yoga studio. You can gather intelligence, identify market signals, evaluate risks, and produce a strategic recommendation. And it's going to be using this particular framework. This one is literally the secret sauce of the whole entire thing. This actually applies to human thinking as well. And we're going to have it output results into a text file. A text file makes your life easy because it is very lightweight. It's not a big file. It can be emailed to somebody. It can be put in Microsoft Word. It's not a PDF. It's not heavy. It's not a lot of pressure on the application. So we're going to start off with this right here. Okay, and it's going to be for the ZenFlow. And I said, wait for next step. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and let that marinate for a few seconds. See that it's listening to what we're telling it. It's noted the competitive intelligence framework that's here. So it's going to use these 2 competitive intelligence frameworks. It's going to use those 2, which is going to help. That will move us over to the next step, which is analyze this fictional company, ZenFlow Yoga Studio. We have the business profile like we discussed and the current challenges. create a situation summary, identify the strategic pressure points. So let's go ahead and run this now. And we'll let that marinate until we get a result. It wants to create the text file. It says, I will create the analysis file. You're just going to hit submit like you always do. You can say, yes, allow this time. It's going to ask you questions. It gives you decision branches so you can figure that out. Comes back with results. It created the analysis text and it did the analysis completion. Let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Next step, we now have to do what is crucial to competitive analysis, and that's called key intelligence topics. So we have to have a key intelligence topic, and the kit for this business is the main strategic question. And now that question is going to change depending on the type of business you're dealing with. So should Zenflow Studio adopt a personalized digital membership experience to improve retention and compete in 2026? And it has to define these 4 things: the business decision, why this decision matters now, what information leadership needs before they invest or reinvent anything, and of course, what success would actually look like. What would that look like? Let's go ahead and do that. I'll hit this and then we'll let those results marinate. So here you could actually see that it's updated the text document with the kit, which is great, the key intelligence topics. Okay. The business decision, and it's updated everything that's here. We're not going to dive into it yet because we don't want to get distracted. We want to continue doing what we're doing. So we're going to move on to the next section. That we've done the kit, we're going to develop KIQ, which is the key intelligence questions, which is, again, kit and KIQ are both directly connected to competitive intelligence and analysis. So here's the deal. We're going to develop the key intelligence questions, the KIQs for Zenflow Yoga Studio. So we organize the questions into 5 categories: operations, competitors, customers, financial impact, and of course, risks. When we're dealing with operations is a crucial factor of business. Anybody will tell you that. But we also have to look at capital, because capital is your runway. It's your runway for the business. So we're going to be dealing with these 5 questions here. And for each category, create the questions a consultant would investigate before making a recommendation. So let's go ahead and do that now, and then we'll let that marinate. The most important step, really, out of all steps, this is the most important because you have to be able to research what your competitors are actually doing. And in order to look at that, we have to take a look at competitor behavior, digital marketing platforms, mobile apps, personalized recommendations, right? Market changes. So we're analyzing competitor behavior, the market changes, and the customer behavior. And we want to return 3 things. We want to return signal, meaning, and potential business impact. Which, by the way, you're going to see what that looks like when we finally debrief this whole thing at the very end. And keep in mind, like I said, this can apply to a real business just as easy. Just because it's fictional doesn't mean it doesn't have value. It's got plenty of value. What's important is that you give it definitive information. We have to learn to be very objective, especially when you're doing this kind of analysis. You got to look at the pros and the cons, not just the good, not just the bad, but everything. And we have to be able to see it that way. Let's go ahead and run this and let it marinate. See, it returned pretty good results. It returned very good results, and it also updated the text file, which is awesome. So it analyzed the signals of competitive behavior, market changes, customer behavior. That moves us on to the next section. Now, I have a background in cyber psychology, and I've been studying psych, and that psych relates to business just as equally. And what we're looking at right now, the next prompt we're going to be dealing with is literally the psychology of it all. We're going to look and analyze Zenflow Yoga through the customer psychology lens, the customer needs, and we're going to explain how could a digital experience support these psychological needs? How could the technology strengthen the human connection between teachers and students? I'm going to go ahead and run that right now, and we'll let that marinate and come back with results. See, it came back with results. It added a human psychology analysis section. A lot of people don't always account for psych inside of business. I do. That's just the way I am. It's the way I think. I'm very strategic when it comes to business, and this is why I do what I do. So this was awesome because it analyzed the psychological drivers of things, and it outlined human connection integrations. Let's go on to the next one. The next one is literally, we're going to be looking at the owner, the concerns. Now, why is this important? Because if you're the business owner, your concerns have to be placed in this box, right? Will technology change the studio culture? That's a concern, right? Will members feel like numbers? That's a concern. So it's important to embed these concerns into the analysis, because if you're the business owner, what you feel is going to impact everything. And we want to be able to have even some analysis of that, because you could be worrying emotionally, projecting into the future, not looking at the actual facts. Every leader has blind spots. AI technology will be used to cut through those blind spots, but the only way to cut through is to be very specific and very objective. Let's go ahead and go through this. It's going to evaluate the emotional barriers, cultural risks, adoption concerns, and ways leadership can introduce technology while preserving the community values. Now, one key point: adoption of a product is always a concern. It's always something. No matter what it is, adoption is always the thing. A beautiful secret to adoption, and this is just a nugget of wisdom, is transparency. Okay, being transparent. There's certain products out there that people won't adopt because they know that the organization is not being forthcoming and transparent with the information. So that's just a wisdom nugget right there. Let's go ahead and run this through, and we'll go to the next one. Came back with some facts for the owner, and if you're the owner, you get to be educated on that and understand how this can be used as a rear view mirror. You know how they say, like, things are closer than they appear inside the mirror? Well, AI can be that mirror to help you see clearly. The key to seeing clearly is being objective, looking at the pros and the cons. So the next section of this is creating an intelligent assessment using this structure. We have to look at the facts, okay? Not what-if scenarios. There are ways you can use those what-if scenarios, but some of them can be fear-based if you're a leader. We have to look at what is, the actual facts in front of us. And the facts are: Zenflow tracks memberships manually. The new students attend several classes before deciding whether to continue. And the teachers know members personally, but lack centralized information. We're looking at patterns, insights, and opportunities here. This is where the rubber meets the road. Again, let's go ahead and let this marinate to the system. It's going to update the text file. This is where it gets interesting. It came back with all of the information that is evidence-based. Your organization, your corporate identity, your company's identity gets updated based on action. But you have to have evidence. When you have evidence, you can take action, and by doing so, that updates the brand, that updates the identity of the company. Very important. So it came back with facts, patterns, insights, and opportunities. And it updated the text file, which is great. Let's go on to the next step. Step is probably the most important. It's called failure analysis. If you're a leader, there's many different mindsets in business. There's many different ways to look at the end result of what you're doing. And we are going to do what's called a strategic failure analysis. The problem with a lot of failure analysis is some people could be really negative, and by being very negative, you're not being objective. When you fall into negativity bias, that blinds you from seeing the actual facts. So it's really crucial to know that you yourself have to look at everything clearly. So what we're doing is a failure analysis. It's going to assume Zenflow's digital membership strategy fails. It's going to assume the what if scenario. What if it actually fails, right? But when you do failure analysis, it's not just looking at the negatives. It's looking at what is blocking us. What can cause that to happen? How do we remove the very obstacle that's creating that? So you're working backwards. Very important. So with this being said, it's going to put many different failure scenarios and safeguards. Okay. It's also going to talk about the risks, which is valuable. You can add your own personal human intelligence onto this. Like, no AI system is perfect, and adding your own intellect and your own business sense is going to be valuable. And it's not, people want to leverage the machine, but we have to leverage ourselves too. It's very important. Let's go ahead and move this through and let it marinate. Here we are. Now we came back and we've gotten some results. It's updated the text document. We now have a summary of work. We added some subscription post-mortem, some scenarios. It looked at some scenarios, too much technology, too much over automation. And that, by the way, automation is becoming too much. There's people that want to automate everything, but what they're lacking is that human beings want that connection. All right, people connect to brands for a good, solid reason. So that being said, if they're over automated, people think that's a good thing because, like, oh, it just dumps cash in your pocket. Guess what? That doesn't last all the time, right? Poor personalization, low adoption, instructor resistance and data fatigue, primary backlash. These are all of the things that it discovered. Now what we're going to do is get an executive recommendation. The question is, should Zenflow Yoga Studio adopt a personalized digital membership experience? We're going to provide these 6 things: recommendation, strategic reasoning, expected business impact, customer impact, competitive advantage, and conditions required for success. And let's do it. Let's go ahead and hit it through and let it marinate. Here we are back again. It updated the text file once more. We added the Section 7 strategic recommendations. It went through all 1 through 6, which is fantastic, and it gave us solid answers for everyone. And we're going to go ahead and put this through. The next step that we're going to move through is we are going to create a phased implementation roadmap. So when you're dealing with business, you're not going to move everything overnight. You're not going to do everything overnight. You have to move and do things in phases, in pieces. I have a background in artificial intelligence, project management, product owner as well, and I could clearly tell you project management is based off of sprints. Okay? Those phases are equivalent to the sprints. You can take a phase and move it into a sprint, basically. What they call a sprint in project management. So phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, we're going to run this through. It's going to provide us with that information, and then we're going to go over the final result very soon. So let's go ahead and push this through. It is going to create a phased implementation roadmap, and we're going to have some fun. Let's let that marinate. And here you have it, folks. Here we are, right here at the very end of the line. We are at the very end. This is our implementation roadmap, and then we're going to go over the text file together. So this is the implementation roadmap. This is a summary of the work completed. You can see that it did the text file. The text file is done. We're going to go over that. The business context, the key intelligence topics are done. The key intelligence questions are done. The evidence analysis and intelligence assessment is done. The human psychology, yes, it is needed. There's some people say, oh, that's so dry. Listen, in business, you want to understand the psychological aspect. It doesn't mean that you have to go and get a PhD, okay? But you do want to understand that. The human psychology analysis. The failure analysis. Yes, we have to think clearly, think objective. Don't fall into the negative pitfall of failure, because people do. The strategic recommendations, and finally the implementation roadmap. Okay, let's go over the final results.